Good evening, this is a low production video. Basically I've made Novelty in Transport Fever and I thought I'd actually take the time to record my process. At this stage you're just seeing it. I've just imported the model into the model viewer. It's still got the wrong textures applied, it's still got all the wrong things. At this point I've gone to the animation stage. So I'm going to try and talk through fast while this plays back at 4 or 5 times speed about what's going on. Hopefully this will make a somewhat interesting video. If not, if you're here for like the GTA compilations, this probably isn't for you, but if you like this will be your bag. So here we go. Am I playing this back fast? Yeah, so we're on 4.20 speed, 420 speed, and at the moment I'm just going through the model file trying to animate this here, which I don't know if you can see my mouse, but there's a bell crank sitting just behind this leaf spring here. I'm just trying to animate to, pump in time with the piston. This is what Novelty, the engine that we're modelling here, actually used to power its drive wheels. Had vertical cylinders but horizontal cranks, so the pistons actually went up and down, and this powered the cranks horizontally via this bell crank here, which may have actually supplied a mechanical advantage for Novelty. In this case, the bell crank is a perfect 90-degree turn. I'm just trying to animate it so it looks like it is in motion with the cylinder. The hard part here is actually probably getting the angle right. Initially I do actually do this incorrectly. When I animate this, it gets correct, it looks right, but then when I try and animate the crank axle onto the wheel, it's completely out, so I have to go through this process again. Up in the top left hand corner, by the way, is the exact same screen as the main one. It's just always on top, so no matter what's going on you can just see the changes as they happen in real time, although there aren't many changes until we get to the painting. As you can see, I've animated it now, and I've added in the actual crank. I'm just trying to get that into position to animate. It's been a bit of a pain. There we go. So I'm going to just try now to put in all the right angle values into here so it moves with the crank at the same speed, the bell crank. As you can see, it's going a bit quick at the moment. Trying to figure out which axis is the horizontal one that I need to be modifying with the correct value. Still trying to get it into the right place. I'll speed it up a little bit from here. A bit tedious, this bit, took me quite a while. This whole video I'm speeding up over, it's an hour long, and it's an hour process. Hopefully I'm going to get this down to about 15 minutes, maybe less, for a good YouTube video. And you can see it's moving in time now. I'm just playing this back in VLC, using the speed controls, so if it starts going all weird, I'll make sure to slow it down. This is where you can get video artifact compression. If I do something like this, it starts all going a bit crazy, so I'll slow it down. But as you can see, now that I have actually sped it up, we are getting there. It looks like it's moving as one. I've not bothered to animate the section of the piston to the crank, as that's hidden by the wheel. Most of this is actually hidden by the wheels, which are about 20 or 30 units up in the air. You can see the shadows of them in the background here. So at the moment I'm just trying to make something that looks like it moves. I think with Novelty you could probably have gotten away with just having the pistons moving, but I like being I like being a bit anal about this sort of thing, so still trying to get the angles to work on Novelty. If you're wondering about the colours that it's in, this is a modified rocket, which in itself was a modified Borsig from the vanilla game. All my meshes are just modified vanilla stuff, so technically this is a Borsig with extreme modifications at this point. The boiler barrel is the boiler barrel, and you've got the... I'm trying to see if I can describe how Novelty works. It's not a very conventional engine at all, actually, so while I'm doing this, I'm just going to see if I can talk about how Novelty works. So if you can see my mouse, I'll just check, can you see my mouse? You can. Oh, okay. Just changing the length of the rod. As you can see up here, it's too short, so I'm just changing that in the mesh in Blender. That took me by surprise, forgot I did that. There we go, it's a bit longer. So, Novelty, got this big yellow bit here, that's the boiler. That's the main firebox part of the boiler, actually. The fire goes in the front down here initially, it's where it's lit, it's loaded in from the top. And this actually going, oh, there's the wheels, going underneath the back here. That is the main boiler section. That's a lot of code. So it goes along that, that's it, like the fluid, it goes in and returns back a few times. And then there's another large chunk of water in the boiler. It's essentially a modified fire engine from the Victorian era, so that's what this is at the moment. Now I'm trying to animate the other piston, So I've learnt how to animate things, and now I try to animate them correctly so they're 90 degrees out of sync. So you'll notice when this starts going up and down, it'll actually go up and down, not in sync with the other cylinder. So this is yeah, there we go. That's how actual steam locomotives work. Transport Fever hates this. It likes everything to move as one. If you notice, a lot of my vehicles and the vanilla vehicles, all the rods will actually move as one. We're getting some artifacts, so slow down. They actually do move as one up and down, so that isn't very accurate, but hey ho. So with Novelty, it doesn't have a chimney. This pipe at the back, that's its chimney. Its funnel or whatever. It doesn't have a blast pipe. It's one of the very few engines that doesn't. I'll explain what that is in a moment. So one of the few engines that doesn't have a blast pipe, which means that the fire isn't drawn through the chimney by the steam being exhausted from the cylinders, which also really means that the fire can die. So what they did, they actually installed bellows that were powered by the cylinders. So they're pumping up and down the bellows into the firebox to get oxygen in there. And in reality, in 1829, these bellows failed, and well, the engine had no air, so it died. Right now, I'm just messing with the timing, using Notepad to just store some stuff on the outside. Getting a bit upset with my copy and pasting and not copying quite right. As you can see, I've missed something out here, so the piston's on the floor at the moment. The crank is on the floor, so I'm just putting the angle in. There we go, it's all correct. Well, it looks it. I think I've got a few of the timings just out, so I'm just going to go through and readjust the timings. I think that's what I'm doing right here. There's two mice on the screen at once. It's kind of confusing, but mine's this one. It goes all the way off the screen. That's my one. So if you want to keep track of that, this is so much fun. I understand people are going to be enthralled by this, but let me know if you've gotten this far and if you enjoy the video and if you want me to make more of these. They're kind of hard to make, but they're fun. It means I have to then commentate over myself just after I've done it, otherwise I'll forget. Yeah, see, look, it's working now. I've looped it. That looks all right. Just moving the guy around now, make sure he's in the middle. I'm wondering how I got the top hat guy. It's because it's the guy from the bus, not the usual steam engine guy. These Victorian bus people look more like it. It's gone blue. That means I've deleted all the textures. So here's my rocket mod. Now delete that. Rocket will be coming out with this, obviously. I'll have all three engines released at once: Sample I, Novelty and Rocket. So you can do the Rainhill trials yourself. Just got to make almost everything bronze or blue, which is what Novelty did. It's quite good actually with that bronze there. Later on I'll make it a lot shinier. I might actually go back to that original sort of battered bronze. The textures aren't final yet. The texture's still got quite a long way to go. You'll see at the end of the video it's very rough. It doesn't look quite right. I've got a bit of work to do there with the texturing, but hey ho, that's the fun. I'm trying to figure out why this bit of the engine is going red up here. I haven't figured out what pixel it is yet. It's that one. It's that one there. But I've figured it out now, so I can paint this bit blue, which is meant to be blue. As I'll look in a second, it's actually meant to be bronze. There we are. It's bronze. There's a reference image. Yeah, make it bronze. Make everything bronze or not. So actually, it's starting to come into its own now. It's starting to look a bit more like Novelty. The wheels are going to go blue in a bit, which actually really changes things. And when you look at the model in the model viewer, it starts actually thinking, wow, that is Novelty. I might go back to this paint here, where the wheels have the black outline and the blue interior. A lot of the models of Novelty, actually have all blue wheels. As you can see, I'm finding it here. All blue wheels, but these wheels have quite thick edges. So I might go back to this one, use a bit of artistic license. As it looks a little bit naff like that, so I might go back on what I've done. But it's nice to actually have everything segmented in the 2D viewer, so you can actually start going in to change things. I might just end up wiping it completely and trying it again. It's not a very complex texture. Trying to get the reflection right now. Should have probably kept what it was, but hey ho. I'm not a genius, so I'll probably put it back to what it was, and it's that faded fuzzy blue. Figure out what that is. Trying different colours, seeing what I get. Speed up a bit. How fast can we go? Oh wow, I can go really quick, but that breaks everything. Slow back down again. get the compression back. Just adjusting the bounding box now actually, so the model doesn't overlap with coaches that it pulls. That's why I've actually put the buffers on this mesh. The original Novelty actually didn't have buffers. Everything would have been connected by like chains, but I noticed that if you put a coach behind it, it would rest up against the funnel. So I was thinking, when they started pulling things, they must have put buffers on these things. This that you can see behind me there, that is on the top here, MDL Value Generator. It's a tool that I've created that helps me do mods. So it spits out a bunch of stuff to do with animations and power and speed. It does all the conversions for you. It is actually out there on the internet. You can find it. I've put a link somewhere. Yeah, and see color change works, aging works. I'm going to start and try and load Transport Fever, see if it works. I didn't realise this would happen. You've now got 2 Transport Fevers on the screen. It seems that it picks up this as well as the model viewer, but hey ho, this is just a weird video. It takes ages to load this time around. I don't know why. There we go. It's starting to pop in. Come on. I feel like I'm waiting for it to load. Well, I am waiting for it to load. I feel like I'm there, live, watching it load. It's really jerky. Slow that down. The reason I cancelled out the game there, by the way, is because I noticed that the texture of Novelty was not loading in properly. So when the model viewer takes a picture of a model, it takes it with the first level of detail being, what's it called? Dirty. It makes it the first level of dirty. I forgot to change the name of the file, so it took a picture of an entirely rusted Novelty as the thumbnail, so I went and just changed that. Speed up again now. And then I went back down that slow. Changing the date of the availability as well, changing the weight. It's a very light engine, it weighs a few tons. I think it weighs a bit less actually than 3, but the game starts breaking and make things too light. Adding all the necessary mods, loading. Oh my goodness. Don't know what that was, but hey ho, that looked interesting. Don't think it likes the compression. Oh well, that's its problem. So loading in Novelty, slow the speed down again. Again, apologies for the jerkiness of the recording here. This is Transport Fever struggles in this laptop at the best of times. So when you've got recording software, Blender open, Google Chrome open, and especially when it's recording 2 screens at once, the frame rate is absolutely appalling. I do like how good the frame rate is though in the little video at the top left. So just focus on that one. Just focus on this video. You can see the animation working. I don't like the reflection there. You can see a town that doesn't even exist. But yeah, you can see the pistons pumping and everything looks good. So from here on, I just move the smoke around. It's pretty boring. So what did I press then? Move the volume. Anyway, just going to probably leave the video there. Actually, what I'll do real quick, I'll pause this. I'll show you around the mesh, the model that I've made. So there's Rocket, ignore Rocket. You've seen Rocket before. But there's Novelty. That took a fair while, but hey ho, it was fun. And that's why we're doing this, isn't it? We're doing this because it's fun. And sound providers exist. I think at the end of the video I show Novelty, Sound Prime, Rocket riding off into the sunset. Let's have a look. I can get there. Come on. Takes ages to load in. Speed up a little bit. There's no sound yet. I'm yet to do that. I think I'm doing more smoke fixing. Or am I happy with that? It looks like I'm happy with that one. Here we go. So we're going to see all 3 Rating Hill Trials competitors for the first time in Transport Fever. There we go. Rocket, Sans Per Eye, and Novelty all in the same place. All chuffing off into the distance very happily. And that's where I'm going to leave the video. So if you like this, let me know. And if you want me to do more of these, be a nice person and tell me about it. Whee!